Stacy Lynn Harp is coaching with heart. Thank you for listening to this audio presentation. To learn more about Stacy and her coaching services, visit stacylharp.com. That's STACYL harp.com.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I am really glad that you've joined me today for this quick Coaching with Heart, as I'm referring to it as a, quote, bite podcast, little bites here to help you out. I want to continue our series today as we're looking at the critical spirit and those who criticize a lot. Those people, we all have them in our life, don't we? Yes, we do, unfortunately. But that's what happens when you live in a sin-sick, fallen world. And so today I just want to focus on one thing, and that is signs of critical speech. Yesterday we talked about the issue of the heart, and we quoted a scripture from Luke where it basically says, out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. And we saw that when there's good in the heart, good fruit is produced, and when there's evil in the heart, evil fruit is produced. No big surprise there. But the question is, have you ever been someone who has been hurt by somebody else's words when they're, quote, kidding with you or joking with you, or somebody is sarcastic around you and using sarcasm with you? I have to tell you, one of my least favorite shows on television was Everybody Loves Raymond. I absolutely hated that show. As much as I love Patricia Heaton in the show The Middle, that show, Everybody Loves Raymond, is probably one of the worst shows in the history of mankind when it comes to showing good communication, because that show was filled with vitriolic sarcasm. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but sarcasm literally means harsh or bitter derision, a sneering or cutting remark. It's a remark that is designed to cut you, and what happens when you get cut? You bleed, right? So, and kidding is defined as to talk or deal jokingly with, banter, to speak or act deceptively. Isn't that interesting that there's deception often with kidding? And, we often hear people say, oh, well, there's always some truth in kidding and in sarcasm. And yes, that is the point. There is truth in it, oftentimes. And we, if we're going to be healthy individuals and hopefully, disciples of Christ that are mature, hopefully we're going to be able to learn to communicate the things that bother us without sarcasm and without kidding. And we can learn to be direct and honest about it. So we've all heard from time to time, the phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I hate that saying. And the reason I hate it is because it's not true. And the person who believes this, what they are doing is denying that words hurt. I remember when I was working with domestic violence victims, the stories I would hear of these women being beaten by men and having bruises left behind. And they would always say, but the words were so much more worse. People often wonder why domestic violence victims don't leave their abusers. It's because they've been so emotionally beaten down with words telling them they're no good, or they're fat, or they're ugly, or they're a whore, or whatever, that these women, they can't get up emotionally because they've been so beat down with words. So the truth is, words do hurt. And if somebody is kidding or joking or using sarcasm with you all of the time, then what that tells you about them, because remember, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. What comes out of us reveals what's in us, not them. Okay? What that reveals about them is that they're angry. And it reveals that they don't know how to communicate a healthy thought in a manner that isn't hurtful towards the other person. I recently had this situation with a relative, and I was told by them the reason they were picking on me so much is it was because I was part of the family, and that's how they showed acceptance to the family. And I said to them, well, I want you to know that I'm not feeling very loved when you do that, and to me, that isn't kidding. I was insulted growing up by my parent, and I'm not going to take it from you. So if you want a relationship with me, you're going to have to learn to, quote, kid with me without insulting me. And I have to say that it wasn't easy to go through that confrontation, but I think he got the picture. And, as I model, being able to kid back and forth with him without insulting him, I think that he's getting it even in his old age. So people can change if they're taught. Remember, you teach people how to treat you. And so if you're allowing somebody to treat you poorly, then they're going to treat you poorly. So here are a few things to consider when someone jabs you with their words, because they do. And, sometimes they might say, well, I'm just having fun. And the question is, but at whose expense and feelings are they having this fun? Here are a few questions I put in my email that I think you can think about when someone is choosing to use abusive language towards you. Number one, if that word was a rock and it was thrown at your head, how much would it hurt? Good question, right? Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want any size rock hitting my head. And that's exactly where words go. They go in your head. So, think of words as pebbles or boulders. I remember a therapist telling me that once. And I had to learn. I really did have to learn how to communicate better and not use things, because I had the worst model possible for good communication. So if the word was a rock and it was thrown at your head, how much would it hurt? Second question, if Jesus was standing with you in this conversation and just observing, would this sound like a conversation between friends or enemies? And better yet, and even better than that, if it wasn't just Jesus, if somebody who didn't know you and this person was standing and overhearing your conversation, would they be able to determine if you're friends or enemies? If they wouldn't be able to determine your friends, then you know that there's something wrong. Number three, if you were to say these exact same words to the one saying them to you, how would they react? And here, that's a good question, because sometimes these people can't take it. You know what I'm saying? And if they're the type of person that wouldn't react, or the type of person that has something going on and they shut down or they get mad back, well, that tells you something. How would a sensitive child react? That will tell you something as well. Number four, how does this make you feel? And would Jesus dare say anything like this to you? And I think that's a good question. What would Jesus do? Would Jesus say this to you? And 9 out of 10 times, probably 9.999 out of 10 times when there's kidding and joking and sarcasm going wrong, I can guarantee you that most likely Jesus isn't going to say that to you. And as Christians, he's our model, right? So there are many ways that friends can have fun together, and insulting one another in fun should never be one of them. So examine yourself, see how often you do this to others and how often people do this to you. And if you see it quite a bit, it might be that the Lord wants you to change, and he might want to change you. So here's a scripture you can use to memorize. It's Ephesians 4:29. It says, let no unwholesome word proceed from your mouth, but only such a word as is good for edification, according to the need of the moment, so that it will give grace to those who hear. That's Ephesians 4:29. I'm reading in the New American Standard Version. So practice that today, and tomorrow we will look at how do we respond when criticism is valid. All right, so enjoy the day, and we'll talk to you again on our next show.
Thank you for listening to this audio presentation. To discover more resources from Stacy Lynn Harp, clinically trained marriage and family therapist and biblical coach, visit stacyLharp.com. That's STACYL Harp.com. Coaching with Heart.